Like a Feckless student, Berlin might need to retake its elections because of a series of polling irregularities last September. But can the Klimaliste, the only party actually taking the climate crisis seriously, bring itself to contest it again, seeing as hardly anyone voted for them? We'll see, former Bundestag candidate and physics teacher Michael Hohenadler tells the Megacanners over a classic G&T. Chin chin!
It's time for another episode, finally, of Megan's Megacan. I'm Megan. I'm here with Konrad Werner.
Hello.
And that awkward pause means Konrad and I are sharing a mic because we have a guest today. We have Herr Dr. Michael Hohenadler.
Hello.
Hello. I'm very excited. I'm going to properly introduce you in a second. But we have another patron to thank. Do you want to do this?
Sure. Shout out to Witzke, who I actually met in person in a party not far away, and she's our latest patron on Patreon. Thank you very much to Witzke. And also, you can ask a question. No one's ever asked a question. I always want the patrons to, because you have special privileges as a patron on our podcast. Yeah. And one of them is you're allowed to ask questions. Well, none of them ever have. Or maybe it's like, it's like no one ever wants to start. When at the end of a lesson, someone says, anyone got any questions? And no one wants to ask the first question. But anyway, yeah, thanks very much, Witzke.
To our lovely guest. I'm very excited because you are a friend and colleague of mine.
Yeah.
Michael, and you have a very impressive list of attributes. You're climate activist and politician, which is going to be mainly what we're going to talk about today. But you're also a doctor of biology and a physics person. I know you as a science teacher, like a biology and physics teacher.
Yeah, right now I'm teaching physics as well, but yeah, I have an engineering degree in water management as well.
That's something I didn't know. I'm very excited. But yeah, so you, as I sort of was saying when we were talking, you're definitely in all of those Bereiche, someone that Berlin and Germany needs at the moment. Very sought after. We've a shortage of
water.
Intelligent. Smart decisions.
Yeah. And climate orientated politicians.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
we also need alcohol. Yes. Okay. Tell me what you know about Megacans, what you understand with the term Megacan.
I'm here to learn as a teacher. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, well, I'm here to teach. So, a Megacan, for the uninitiated, I've brought like 3 of the classics today. I've got a gin and tonic from Gordon's, a whiskey and ginger from Ginger and Jack Daniels, and a Jim Beam and cola. These are some of your basic flavors. Mm-hmm. And they're called a mega can, not because they're mega, as you can see, they're a normal sized can, but they're 10%, which is fast becoming the only sort of reason I want to be in Germany still. Well, that and the UK has fallen to even more fascistic people. Anyway, these are mega cans. They're great. We have them obviously with the news every week because how could you otherwise? What flavor would you like?
I go gin and tonic.
Oh, all right. You can decide on which one you want. Yeah.
Ginger.
All right. I'm drinking the whiskey and Coke. That's fine.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let's open this. I haven't had a Jim Beam one for ages.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, don't smell them. Actually, the gin and tonic one's fine.
Go straight in there.
That's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that good? The gin and tonic one is...
Yeah.
The whiskey and Coke is a bit more of an acquired taste, but it's become... Yeah, someone said it the other day. Our friendship group just refers to a whiskey and Coke now as a mega can in a glass, which is concerning. Anyway,
yeah.
You want to take the mic?
No, I wanted to say something because I haven't said anything for a couple of minutes.
That's the problem when you share a mic.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, you always hate your first one. The trick is to persist.
I don't think there's hate involved right now, but...
Okay.
The Gordon's G&T is a good gateway one because it's not so sweet. Anyway, the news. Fucking hell. Right. Mainly, I just want to talk about canned cocktails. But I have wanted to kind of have you on and grill you about your political career and climate activism for a while. But it popped back into my head because a shared colleague of ours sent me something that you'd sent him about Berlin elections.
Yeah.
Are we doing it again? What's happening?
Right now, we don't know. We will know by the end of the year, but it's most likely that we will do it again. So the Constitutional Court in Berlin just gave a press release last Wednesday, which is kind of guiding towards the direction of we will do it again. And by the reasoning they had, most likely that we will do it again, that we have to do it again.
Yes.
It's for the federal election and for all the districts, for the 12 districts, the BVV, Bezirksverordnetenversammlungen. But if the court says we have to redo it, that also includes probably problems with the general elections, because the votes in Berlin are counted as well for the general election, because it took place on the same day. If Berlin says, okay, a lot of things went wrong, which they did, that means also has an effect on the general elect for Germany.
Okay.
Right.
But right now
When
they're
we
just
say-
talking about Berlin.
So this is just the state of Berlin, not the Bundestag.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not the Bundestag, but again, it could have an effect on the Bundes.
But this is what I was thinking, because everyone was in the same queue.
Yeah.
So just to sort of, for people who don't know, this was on the 26th of September.
Yeah, correct.
We all went to the polls in various guises, those of us who can, and there were 4 elections that happened. 4 votes on that day, including the Deutsche
Volksentscheid.
Wohnung.
Yeah.
And it was relatively chaotic at my, is it a Wahllokal? Yes.
Yeah.
At my polling station, but my polling station is Rathaus Neukölln. So I was like, hey, it's Neukölln, it's going to be a bit chaotic. But you're, what
I went to in Schöneberg actually. But so based on my own experience, it was super chaotic, and for me, I had to wait more than 3 hours in queue.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
it was way better than that in Neukölln.
And that was not the worst. So actually, a lot of things went wrong that day. So you hear a lot of stories about like where people had to wait really long because they didn't have enough voting slips there, or they actually did some copies on their own, which is not allowed. It's not official. Or
They just like ran to the photocopier.
yeah. And also some of the polling stations, they just closed in between and opened after. Or a really, really major issue that happened, because usually in Germany, the Wahllokal closed at 6 p.m. because they give the first prognosis like at 6 p.m. And some of them were open until 8 or 9 when they had the results announced to the public already. So people that were lining up for voting could actually see the results already, and based on that, gave their
Oh,
vote.
no.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that. That's bad.
And of course, not to forget, because on the 26th of September last year, it was the day of the marathon in Berlin. And that's why a lot of people had problems to get through the polling stations, also from the federal state, to send more votes, more slips. So it was just a mess the whole day.
If we repeat this election, do you think we will kick out Giffey?
Oh, please, God.
I actually...
Jesus.
Yeah, it, of course, with all the neutrality I have, yes, I hope so. I also think, like, the last year showed, say, of course, the government right now is responsible for what has happened, but most of the organization was SPD-based, so the SPD did a lot of bullshit before the election as well. Yeah, I think more people will vote for another parties, which can also be bad because they see they are not happy, so probably the CDU or even the AfD will get more votes as well.
Okay. And do we know when this repeated election would be, if they did it?
So the way it worked, Constitutional Court, as I said, last Wednesday they announced that they will come to a decision, which might be that the elections have to be repeated. But after saying this, they have around 90 days before they have to decide on it. So most likely end of the year they will say yes or no. If they say yes, the elections have to be repeated within 3 months as well, 90 days. So most likely March next year, which will be also a bit problematic because that will be winter when everyone is freezing and being super angry with the current government, which is SPD and the Green Party. I think that will also show in the elections in Berlin.
And you were actually a candidate in this election last time.
Yes.
Who were you a candidate for?
So I'm founder or member of the Klimaliste Berlin, and I was running for them as well.
It's very exciting. But you would then go again? Or is that another...
I'm not sure. So actually, we have to decide upon that as well as a party if we want to do that again, go through all this stuff. And of course, this time it's even more difficult than it was last time because you really have just 90 days to prepare everything, to get stuff printed, and it's expensive, and so collecting money, and for a small party, it's nearly impossible to do that again. But yeah, let's see. And of course, all the members have to decide if they want to do it or not.
Because that's the thing, like, it's taken such a long process. People's lives move on. It's like you're asking people to go back to a point like 18 months and be like, oh, okay, well, you might get to do this other thing. And you're like, well, I did different things. Life.
I think right now for us as the Klimaliste, it would be cool to do it again in a way of seeing many people that voted for the Green Party. So like within the last year, what happened in Berlin, basically on climate politics. They would probably see, okay, we really have to do something else. But I think more people are angry with SPD and Giffey, so they will vote against them. Let's see.
So I would like to talk a little bit more about like the policy and stuff that you see as what's needed in Berlin rather than what's actually currently happening. But what was it like being, because obviously we've had there's been a lot of elections and things, and we all talk about elections all the time, and we sit here and like drink cans and get pissed up. But like, what's it like doing that as a candidate?
So we started the party really with the idea of we need change, we need to do something. And as you said earlier, I'm a scientist as well. And during my PhD and also before, I see, as I said, I'm also dealing with water, and you know what's happening. There's like all the problems related to water, and I know that resource will be a big problem. So for me, it's a little bit like I know what I'm talking about in the sense of I know the shit we are facing. And you're way more motivated to do an election as a candidate, not for like, oh, I want to sit or I want like power or whatever, like most politicians from other parties do that are sitting in the parliament for like 20 years already. Of course, they just want to continue. For us as a new, fresh party, it was really like, we need to change. And I don't care who's sitting there or what to do, we have to do something. And so you go there like really motivated and talk a lot with people and really start crying about like, okay, how can people not see that? Or actually I talked with some friends about it recently. It's really frustrating sometimes to do politics in Germany. Also, I lived in different countries, and I see countries that are really open to new ideas. In Spain with Podemos that just started and they suddenly are part of the government, or Macron in France, no matter what politics he does, but he started with a movement and suddenly he's the president. In Germany, it's more like, oh yeah, I love what you're doing and you're great and I love all your ideas, but I can't vote for you right now, so I will stick with the Green Party or whatever, and let's see, probably in 10 years I'm voting for you because you're established already by that time. But of course that's total bullshit. Or the idea of, oh, I don't want to give away my vote, my voice to a small party. That's something really German. But on the other hand, as you know, I like talking as well, so you have to stop me when during the election, actually. Although at the end my party didn't do so well, we really did something during the elections because the Green Party was really afraid of us. So we also have a lot of big names in the party that approached us and like, why are you doing that? Or also on the street when we were like closer to the elections, we know like people that are sitting in the Bundestag now, they came to us while we were like talking to people and like, what are you doing here actually? And stuff like this. So
and what was there that you were going to split
basically,
the
or they were afraid of like taking, because we really wanted to. The thing what was unique with us was we met with a lot of experts before we wrote our program, and actually we wrote the program together with experts. And experts, I don't mean people like me that work in the climate change sector, but more like we wrote people in the European Parliament or a lot of really well-known scientists in Germany, and also many, many fields, not just climate related. And we asked like, okay, we are a new party. We want to really want to have your knowledge in our program. And we thought, okay, they are super busy. They're like, they don't have time. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's sit down and talk about it. And we talked like 3-4 hours with someone that we never expected to even answer to our email. And our program is amazing. So
it is, I've read it.
Because we also gave ideas. So it's not just, oh, this and this is bad. It's really like, okay, we have this technology, we can do this. We have like a time scale of like 5 years, we can do this and this and this. So, and the Green Party, especially of course other parties, I'm also not meant to like just shit on the Green Party, but
so you specialize in water management.
Yeah, before, yeah.
Okay, what is what are we facing?
Actually, the question would be better. It's like not what we are facing. It's more like, where are we already?
Okay.
So, I mean, you saw it last summer. Germany was always a country, also expert-based, like, okay, there's a lot of groundwater in Germany. You have a lot of water resources, so don't worry. But this summer, we see that actually we are already really in trouble with our groundwater. It's like going lower and lower and lower. And also here in Berlin, you feel like, okay, there's a lot of water, but we just have to go to Brandenburg. And I think in Germany right now, it's like we lose really a significant amount of harvest every year, like that we can't use anymore due to flooding or droughts or whatever. So it's even in a country like Germany that's, by its position has a lot of benefits already, is facing a lot of problems already. And I'm not talking about Spain or Italy. And I lived in, also traveling the world. I mean, when I have been to Cape Town due to a project I worked on, and they're importing icebergs from the South Pole. They track it with boats to have fresh water because it's not raining there anymore.
And
or you go to prison if you wash your car there or water your garden. Also about how to deal with the problem. So again, the program was not there when we started it. So we started with a group of like 5-6 people, and then we grew.
And when did you start it exactly?
Basically, like, let's say roughly like 10 months before the election.
Oh, okay.
So it was, and that was crazy actually. But so in the beginning, I was working for another party before and started talking with people that had the idea of, they came from Klimanotstand, so a lot of the people that started, so that Berlin announced that we actually are in a Klimanotstand right now. So there were doing a lot of Volksentscheid work before already, and then, okay, we have to probably have more impact as a party, so that's why the idea grew. We should have a party to change things. Because that's also the depressing part, because you see a lot of people are doing something, or you have the Fridays for Future movement, and I remember especially for me, that was the most depressing moment I had since I'm in Berlin, so for like around 3 years. On the day there was the global climate strike globally, and in Berlin they were like, really, they counted around 250,000 people just in front of the Reichstag at the Brandenburger Tor, and at the same time the Bundestag was like talking about a climate package, and they announced what they want to do, and it's just bullshit.
We covered this. One Megacan, I don't think, did it on that day.
And that is for me, like, I mean, you are in Berlin, so you're in the parliament, and in front of your house, where you're talking about this really nearly to nothing measurements you want to take in order to, like, work against climate change, there's 250,000 people in front of your office, and you just fuck it. Because you're there, and that's what was my idea. So I really have to be inside that parliament to change things, because they just ignore you. Except you're probably with 10 other people and you call yourself Querdenker, then they do everything you want. But not when it's about climate change,
It's such a... Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we make of that? Like, the fact that the fucking Querdenker movement gained... and these counter-narratives and these, like, conspiracy theories gain so much sort of traction and almost get taken almost as seriously in the media as...
It's selling. The thing is, I'm also, because, of course, I'm depressed and sad about all this, and you see how differently they are treated, but it's actually funny when you go, like, around 10 years back in time in Germany. People were just never on the street for demonstrating or showing something. And I'm from a really political family, and my parents always like, we were young, we went to the street, we went to demonstrations and the NATO Doppelbeschluss and all these things. So, and nowadays, you young people, you don't fight for anything. That is, as I said, like 10 years ago, there's no Fridays for Future or anything. And then something like, I'm not sure if you remember that, if you were here, like Pegida started, and Pegida was like, right shit as well. But that was the first time like people went on the street again to demonstrate. And I'm not talking about the Pegida, but I'm talking about the movement against it. And I was there, and suddenly it feels like, okay, people are like going on the street to like raise their voice again against the government, and something happened. And then, of course, then Fridays for Future happened and stuff. And for me, it's more, although I'm still sad that Querdenker and stuff get so much attention, but still, on the other hand, because there's also a lot of people that go on the same street to demonstrate against them or whatever. So I see, on a political point of view, there's something happening in Germany again, because Germany was just so fed up with everything is fine and we are rich and who cares. Now people realize, no, that's not how it is.
And can you tell us, why should we vote for Klimaliste? Like, what do they have in their program that would offer practical solutions?
So first of all, again, I'm not sure if we will run for the elections, and I'm really not here to like make you aware of like you should vote for us. But as I said, our program is really scientific based. So it's really, there's ideas for the industry. What can they do? Of course, that's not for you as a voter, but it's also just practical and how we would support. So I don't have it all in my head, but we really gave plans. So it's not just that we said like, oh, this has to be changed. We really give like calculations and like, okay, we should move this money from this area to here to support like, yeah, just really practical stuff. Also like investing in alternative energies, and also like to build, I don't know all the English terms, so that's why I'm stuck here. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's really a practical thing. And also there was a lot of socially related stuff. So because we realize nowadays, and I think that's what people don't see yet, probably they start now understanding that the global situation has an impact on me because there's less gas and I have to pay more money in the winter. But for us also as Klimaliste, it was more, when you do climate policy or politics related to climate, it's not just environmental politics, because you also have to think about how will transportation look like, how will the financial sector look like, how will we invest money, or how do we have to change our infrastructure in order to come there, or the health system, because that's also a really, really major point with the climate change, with the climate crisis, because related to its population, no other country, there's so many people dying related to the climate change, like on effects of the climate change, if it's like heat strokes or also cancer related to air pollution, and etc. and stuff. You can see that every time we have a heat wave and you see Europe and you see like, okay, this kind of percentage of people died heat related in Greece or in Netherlands or Sweden or whatever. Germany is always the highest percentage, and no one talks about that.
Why Germany?
I mean, we have a lot of old people.
I was gonna.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a matter of fact. So, and when it's heat,
Yeah.
of course, they suffer the most, young and old. And yeah, it's.
But it also shouldn't just be the case. We're like, well, our population is older. Like, we also, they're a population and they need to be protected. I hang out with a lot of old people in the summer because I have a Dacia / Laube, depending on whether you're talking to a West German person or an East German person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but like my little neighbor, she's like 80. And this is just, she loves her little thing and it's just destroyed. She just like, oh, I didn't have the summer I wanted, because she cannot literally leave, like she can't do anything in July and August.
Yeah.
And I just think that sucks.
Yeah. Well, she wanted to go out.
She wants to do anything. Like she has to lie in her, she cannot cope with over like 34 degrees, and nor should she, frankly, in Northern Europe.
Yeah. I read recently I can't remember the paper, so and I don't want to like spread fake news, but it was something trustworthy that like experts right now expecting Berlin to become like it's a similar climate to Madrid actually. So in the next many years that we will deal with the same climate in summer than Madrid does right now. Yeah.
It's pretty hot.
Yeah, I lived in Madrid, believe me, it's really hard, yeah.
It's hot. Yeah.
But there is moving along. There's a new referendum petition going around that I saw the other day, and that you see posters around saying "Es ist nicht zu spät," it's not too late. What is that all about? Are you involved in that in any way?
My party is. I'm not. I can't tell you too much about it. But actually, what you mentioned, like, so it's not too late. It's a good framing also for climate activists, because of course many think it's already too late, and I'm also moving towards that. But so we want to make Berlin climate neutral by 2030. And it will be another Volksentscheid. So right now, people are collecting signatures in order to make the Senate to act upon the idea of like, okay, we have to do things.
And from what I understand, this one is slightly different to, for instance, the one we had about the expropriation of apartments, because this one would be legally binding to an extent. Like, so action would be...
I mean, can also talk about Deutsche Wohnen and Eignen, but it would be. So actually, that's also what's the depressing part about the Volksentscheid when it was about the Deutsche Wohnen and Eignen. So Germany or Berlin gives a lot of power to the people actually when they sign it. And right now, the same thing is going on with this Grundeinkommen, so this petition about like that everyone should get like a how would you call Grundeinkommen?
Universal basic income.
Yeah. So, and the idea right now is also that both of them combined to be voted on the same day. So because people would go, and right now because there's new elections, so probably we could do it actually during the elections, which would be amazing because then people really go there to vote. But it would be binding. So the way it works, so you need a certain amount of signatures, which is a lot, and I can't remember the number right now.
I think it's 175,000.
I wanted to say 150, but I think 175 is correct.
175, but the Grundeinkommen, the universal basic income, didn't get it.
Yeah.
They were just shy, like still a fucking shit ton of signatures.
And I'm also really surprised by that because I saw that they were really present a lot. So I saw them, and their posters were amazing.
Everyone's got great branding these days. Both these campaigns, their posters look class.
And but again, it's when you have the 175,000 signatures, so they go to the Senate first, and the Senate actually by that time can decide, okay, we really work on it and we will do it already. Or otherwise, there's another round where you have to collect a little bit more, I think, and then it would be like a public vote again. So there's like really people would go to vote for it, and then by that time it would be binding. But actually, the Senate can act upon it before already.
Okay.
Also to save money, but you know how politicians are.
But this is the sort of frustrating thing, and this is what drives me fucking demented about the political system. First of all, I have a theory about the basic income that people don't understand what it is. They think it's a replacement for benefits. I've had one conversation in a bar at like 1 a.m. in Crete, where I turned to this guy that I just met because his mum is neighbours with my mum. And I was like, I think I know who you are. And we ended up talking about universal basic income. And he's like, no, don't think about it. No, like people shouldn't get money for nothing. I was like, no. But we all get the money. And he was like, what? And I was like, universal basic income. And he was like, what? So I would get it too. I was like, you, me, every cunt in this place. And he was like, oh, well, yeah. I just think people don't understand. That's my side note.
And I mean, of course, it's also the idea of like, okay, economy is changing because we are getting more technology. We're getting like some people won't have the possibility to have a job anymore in the future. So that is already the idea. How do we deal with people that are, because there's too many machines that do your job. So
fully automated luxury communism.
Yeah.
Which I read an article about like 4 years ago. Yeah. And I'm like, sold.
Yeah.
That. Anyway, no.
Yeah. So it's 175,000 signatures by when exactly? November?
I think so, yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I think by November. And it's, let's say there's still a lot of space for like, we need more signatures. As I said, I'm sorry, I'm not so involved in that because I was busy with another project, but and I know they still need a lot of signatures. The idea is that if there was a referendum, so they have to get, after the 175,000 signatures, there would be a referendum, and with that referendum, it would commit the Berlin government to being climate neutral by 2030. Is that right? Yeah. And the current target is 2045, like the rest of Germany. I think. Oh my God, 38. I think actually in Berlin, but it might be 45 as well. Sorry.
Okay.
It's,
But anyway, that's the idea.
Yeah.
So
I think you should sign it.
I'm not fucking allowed. Am I, Conrad? No. Because despite C2 German, lived here for 100,000 years, teaching their curriculum, jumped through all those hoops, have a fucking political podcast, am I allowed to fucking vote in meaningful things? No. No, I'm fucking not. And then this is the other point. Like, I do think that these things, I think the elections would look, if we're talking about the big kind of, I guess, more left-wing arguments in Berlin at the moment, it's the idea of universal basic income, the Klimaneutral by 2030, the expropriation of all these ridiculous houses, and also the enfranchisement of 1/5 to 1/4, depending on the thing, of the population, which would, I think, change the political landscape a lot because people are going to vote, like migrants, not like, obviously that's not one homogenous group, but I do think, and I think that's part of the reason that it hasn't happened.
Of course. And I also, for me, also everything Deutsche Wohnen and Eignen is a really left idea. But in general, and that's also what I got so sad about during the elections and also during my daily experience, that a lot of things you just mentioned are considered left ideas, because it's just as a biologist that deals with climate and reads like a lot of paper and publication about it, it sounds really dramatic, but it's really about the survival of like us, because we are in the sixth mass extinction right now, and we see. I read an article. And that's not like, oh, it could be like this. Like a lot of experts think in like the next 20 years, all big mammals on Earth will be extinct. So it's like really a lot of animals we still know, our kids will not know anymore. And also about us, so it's really about that's what I always try to communicate when I talk to people on the street. It's like, it's like the idea of like WWF was really good in like making us aware of ice bears and stuff, like, oh, poor them, they die and stuff. But it's not about a bear on somewhere, like one species that might die. It's really about also us as humans, because facing like areas on the world that will be people cannot live there anymore, and we have to move, and there will be wars about resources, about water. And also in Germany, when we talked about the Flüchtlingskrise, I hate that word. So like crisis of like refugees. But then when we really face the climate problem, it's like not 1 million people that will like move and go to other. It's like 100 million people, and it's the world will go crazy. As I said, like that's the fear I have. It's also like there will be war about resources. Yeah. It's happening already, and also like so-called rich countries, everyone will be like selfish, and it's about how will we survive and stuff. And that's my point. It's like, why is that a left idea of like, I want human race to like survive, or
Yes,
I want
the radical idea that
Yeah.
and then on the left we're always sort of painted as, because like, yes, these are not necessarily like, apart from the expropriation of property
Yeah,
owned by
yeah.
big corporations, like they should be in the mainstream.
Yeah.
But it's even then now first of all they're left wing, and then it's painted as this kind of like emotional, all these Fridays for Future kids, like they're all, you know, my boyfriend was quoting me out of the, like, either the Süddeutsche or the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung about like someone talking about, oh, the Fridays for Future kids, they always just want to blame someone else. I'm like, you sound insane. Like this kind of established argument, like it just sounds so demented. But I feel that if we had politicians that actually had this kind of like, it does take a change in thinking. Like we can't just keep fucking talking about like making growth greener and this kind of like, you do require this sort of like complete switch in perspective and understand that we're going to need radical shit to deal radically with this problem. But if we have politicians that are willing to do that, I do think that I think the electorate, it just, to me, as like a would-be voter, it almost seems like insurmountable. I'm just like, I just want someone to come up with the policy and I can be like, yes, that's great. Yeah. Do it. But if we keep having people like Giffey, who even though she has 65% or whatever that thing was, and that was, you could basically add on another loads of percentages, because you know that quarter to a fifth to a quarter of people in Berlin who are migrants and like, we're not homeowners. So
yeah. The thing is also, now when I listen to you, of course, also I was thinking a little bit how I phrased things earlier. So I don't want to say that all the politicians in the parliament are like just selfish and shit. There's like a lot of really, really good people there, and they try to change things. But yeah, it's really hard, and it's also so frustrating because, as you said, like also the Volksentscheid Deutsche Wohnen enteignen, it's up to you what you think about it, if it's good or not. But still, you know, as someone who grew up like living in Germany, like believing in democracy the way it should be, like power to the people, whatever, and you see like, okay, people decided on something they had to vote on. And I mean, Giffey, on the other hand, she was really honest during the elections already, because she said during the elections, no matter what the result is, I will not do it.
But this
people
is my
still voted
problem
for her.
with how our system is. Like, if you are the mayor, and like, what is her mandate for not doing something about this? She doesn't.
That's what I'm thinking.
She can't just say, well, this is my personal opinion. Like, I don't like either you're a politician there to serve a purpose, or you're a random individual that we sort of go along with, and then you get to do whatever the fuck you want. And to me, that's not democracy.
But so first of all, I want to mention that my can is empty.
Oh,
you finished it already.
Yeah, you know,
I didn't even see you drink.
I talked a lot, so I did it too.
I thought when I used to think our childminder never went to the toilet, because I never I don't know where she was.
I
thought you hadn't touched it.
No, it's done. Believe me, I feel it as well. And for me, it's really depressing. But also now, just going a step back with the that we might have to do the elections again, which is just announced last Wednesday. And before you think like, okay, I remember elections, a lot of shit happened, but 2 weeks after, no one is talking about it anymore. But you might have realized in the past weeks, months, there were like something that we would call Wahlgeschenke. So the SPD, of course, counts on the fact that they have to do it again. They gave a lot of things. So also let's not talk about the facts how it is, but they can announce that it's this 29 euro ticket right now. That's part of it. Of course, the SPD probably thinks there might be re-election, so we have to give something to say like, oh, see, in 1 year we gave you the 29 euro ticket, which no one else is doing. Although it's total shit, because you have to buy an abo for 1 year and you only have 3 months of 29 euros. But it's actually really shady, and when you realize how they do politics right now, and so messed up. But what I want to mention earlier, because the appeals, so that the court actually decided on if the elections have to be redone or not. I think there were I read in an article there's 35. There were 35 appeals from private people or parties or other people. And how do I translate that? The Landeswahlleiter, so the person in charge for elections, supervising elections supervisor, I don't know.
Yeah, the state election supervisor, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So each federal state will have one.
Monitor.
Election monitor.
Okay.
Election monitor.
So he's the one really...
actual bilingual political journalist here, but let's not give him the mic. I will just talk.
No, I made that up. I don't know if it's monitor. I just think monitor sounds right.
So it's always
like milk monitor. It's the election monitor.
So actually I feel good that I don't know the term. But so in Germany every federal state has that, and then there's a Bundeswahlleiter, which is the overall. And this person is basically not responsible for elections, but he's checking that everything is correct. And after the election, he was actually one of the ones that said okay, there happened so many.
Oh really?
Stuff. So from the 35 appeals that there are right now, that the court is actually considering, they only they consider right now only 4 of them. So and one is from the Landeswahlleiter, as I understood. One is from Die Partei. So this Satire-Partei. Yeah. And one is from
Satirical party.
Satirical party.
Satirical party.
Do, but I think
one I don't know, and the other one is from the AfD actually. And of course, that is the bullshit about all of it as well, because they can phrase it now when there's a re-election okay, it's just because of us that we do it, and we give you the right that you deserve, and the elections were shit. So, but of course, they are right with what they said, because the elections were shit. And
even a stopped clock tells the time correctly twice a day. Any cause for optimism? What do people do?
Yeah, for sure. Because I love my Twitter bubble, where I see a lot of positive news every day and a lot of scientists posting stuff. I think they are also politic related, because you see that there's way more this Volksentscheids or Bürgerinnenräte, where you see really people really take effort to get more involved in politics, and the government is also giving it to them. And the Bürgerinnenräte.
What's that?
Bürgerinnenräte. So how would you? Sorry, I should have prepared better.
Citizens' Council?
Kind of, but they really have a lot of power. And
Räte, like the plural of Rat?
Yeah. And that's the one, for example, in Ireland, the same way of voting for gay marriage and stuff. How, what was that? Because I think that
was what I would call a Volksentscheid.
I think it was more based on people that come together as a council, and they gave ideas also.
That was part of it.
Yeah, and that's what's happening right now in Germany.
What the fuck was that called?
I also like that because
citizens
assembly.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, whatever. But Bürgerinnenrat, they have really they get some power, and that's also happening right now. And usually, what you do is you get probably 100 people that really represent the society, and it's really carefully chosen. But you really have the society there, age-wise and job-wise, whatever, and they come up with ideas. So it's usually moderated by experts, from universities or organizations. They really work on ideas, and usually they come up with amazing things. And that is going into the parliament, and they have to act upon that.
Yeah, I think Extinction Rebellion are also into the Citizens Rebellion, Citizens
Rebellion,
Citizens Assembly idea.
Should we just all fucking revolt?
Yeah.
Fuck this. I've already got an outstanding gas bill of €800 from last winter.
Have you?
Oh, I have.
Oh.
And yeah.
Now I know why you stay in office so long all the time.
Exactly. My fucking house is freezing.
There's also a campaign going on to because in the UK there's a Don't Pay UK campaign, and I met some activists in Germany who want to bring that to Germany, where basically people refuse to pay their energy bills.
Yeah.
We need to think of a catchy title in German, but they love having slogans in English here, so that's fine.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So you obviously are a scientist and you know a lot of things, and you already said earlier that you think it might already be too late. What do you do about your how do you cope with it personally on a mental level, psychological level?
That's a good question. I wanted to ask that. Asking for a friend.
Yeah, actually it is a good question. So the thing is, I have to go a little bit back. When the election happened a year ago, a lot of the people from Klimaliste I campaigned with on the day when the results came in, as I said, we did not so well, were really depressed that day. And for me, actually, that day, it felt like kind of relief that day, because I was like, for me, if I have kids or something, if they ask me in 20 years, 30 years, what did you actually do? Because, it's like also as a German, you grew up and you always wonder, like, with the Nazis and stuff. So what did your grandparents actually do that time? So did they say something against it? And I'm happy it's half, let's say. There were some that were affected and did something, and some didn't, or actually supported. But for me, it's really nice to see, like, okay, for me, I can say, I spent every minute I had on campaigning, and I really wanted to change something. And I gave a really amazing choice to people, and they didn't take it. They didn't want it. And it's up to them. That's democracy. But I know for me, I did what I could do. And right now, after that, it felt more like, fuck that shit. Because I was also, it's like this, you're a climate activist and you try to change your entire lifestyle. You don't fly anymore or whatever. You even think about like making your own shampoo and stuff like this. And then you like, at that time I was like, fuck it. Because in 10 years, we all will face the shit. Why should I live 10 more years like this? And then everyone is fucked anyway. So enjoy your life still. So I'm not overdoing it, but I'm still like live that I do some things that I wouldn't have done before. So I don't know. I can't give an example now, but not like giving myself the idea of like, oh, you have to live like this anymore. And now I try to ignore a lot of things, but I know at the same time right now, what feels good to me is also that especially Germans or Europeans or Western people realize that, as I said earlier, like what's happening on the world has an effect on you. And I think in Germany, really right now, in the past 20 years, it's the first time that you see people realize, okay, my lifestyle has an effect or a lifestyle of someone else. So now I have to pay more for gasoline because there's something happening, or more for heating and stuff. I think probably that will change the mindset of people, and that actually gave me hope right now, because I see like people really start like saving. On the other hand, I see also places that don't change, because I saw this we call it Heiz pills, so the ones in the restaurants that are outside. I saw that shit happening already, like this outside heating stuff, like for people sitting outside right now when it's getting colder. And that is the worst thing you can do. It's so bad for the environment. And I'm like, I thought there's a energy crisis, and they didn't realize it yet. But again, let's see. There's hope, but on the other hand, probably that's not the answer you wanted to hear.
I mean, honestly, I think, I don't know, I'm always torn between this kind of like, how do I, when the world is sort of constantly in crisis, but then this is my life and this is thing without trying to be, and I feel like I've been on a short haul flight about 50% of the time since the corona like really lockdowns like stopped.
And that also sounds like so big and poetic, but as Megan said, so I'm a colleague, so I'm teaching as well. And sometimes you talk to kids and you see like there is really hope because they realize what's happening and they really want to change. And probably it's just like wait 1 or 2 more generations and then the world will be a better place. But I think actually, especially the young people, I see there's anxiety and stuff, but there's still hope and they really think like, okay, we have to change something. And I also see it in the older generation. For example, my mother is like really aware of the situation. And she's also saying like, I'm in a generation, I'm a boomer. And she knows that she had all the benefits she could get. And she's like, but that's the reason why I want to give something back. And I know I'm well aware of the fact that I got everything. And I think there's hope.
Yeah, I think that's a good
place to
good place to end before we open up another depressing
Amen.
Thank you very, very much, Misha. That was very enlightening.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah, feels good that I can talk a lot, so I should come off.
Yeah. And hope you enjoyed the Megacan.
Yeah,
I did.
Good. They're delicious.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll keep you updated on Misha's will he, won't. Who knows? If we're all going to be going back to the polls, but let's see.
Where would we vote for you if we were going to vote for you?
Everywhere?
Oh, everywhere. I thought you were like a candidate for a place.
No. It would be the federal election.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
sorry, that's
All right.
gin tonic already,
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.